Today's video is a bit of a change of pace. Let's dive into a news roundup to keep you in the loop on some of the hottest topics in the boxing world. And of course, there's no bigger name to discuss than Tyson Fury. Let's kick things off with his latest retirement announcement, shall we? That's right, retirement number 6. This isn't the first time Fury has said he's hanging up the gloves. It all started back in 2013 after the David Haye fight fell through. Then again, after pulling out of the Klitschko rematch, followed by a break in 2017 when he was dealing with a hiatus and a legal battle with the Board of Control. Fast forward to 2018, after the Dillian Whyte fight, another retirement announcement in 2022, and now, here we are in January 2025. He's calling it quits once again. But let's not overlook the timing, shall we? It's pretty convenient, don't you think? Announcing his retirement the same day as the press conference for one of the biggest cards ever. And not to mention, it's perfectly aligned with all the chatter around an Anthony Joshua fight. Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, and AJ himself have all been vocal about wanting to see it happen. AJ's been making plenty of noise, and it seemed like everything was falling into place. AJ himself recently said, "It's a fight I want to see. I want to leave boxing with a bang, take on the big names, and make an impact." Tyson Fury, of course, had other plans, announcing his retirement just when it seemed the AJ fight was almost inevitable. Now, here's where things get interesting. Fury didn't even show up to the Ring Awards. Can you imagine what Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn must have said? "I just paid you hundreds of millions, and you're not even going to show up for a bit of recognition?" But no, Fury went on his merry way, completely ignoring the event. It's all very classic Tyson, isn't it? And just like that, the boxing world is in chaos. Fans were in an uproar. Is it true? Is he really retired? People started speculating left and right. What's he up to? Is he ducking AJ? Is he just looking for some extra attention for his Netflix documentary? Or is he hoping AJ might take another fight so he doesn't have to face him? The rumors were flying fast and furious. One thing's for sure, there's just too much money in the sport these days. You'd have to be crazy to retire permanently when there's so much cash to be made. I wouldn't be surprised if this is just part of Fury's way of keeping his bargaining power high for when he eventually makes his return. After all, who doesn't love a good storyline? So, mark my words. Don't be shocked if we see Tyson back in the ring before the year is up. Now, while we're on the subject of comebacks, what about Deontay Wilder? Word on the street is that the Bronze Bomber is gearing up for a return in the spring. The big question is, who's he facing? Well, rumor has it, it could be Curtis Harper. Yes, you heard that right. You might remember Harper for his infamous walkout years ago, which was one of the most bizarre moments in recent boxing history. What a storyline that could be. So that's the roundup for now. Tyson's retirement, Wilder's comeback, who knows what will happen next. But stay tuned, because in the world of boxing, anything can happen. Deontay Wilder's next opponent is a name that's going to raise a lot of eyebrows. Curtis Harper. If you're scratching your head, wondering who that is, well, don't worry. Wilder's picking opponents so far below his level, it's almost laughable. Harper's record doesn't exactly scream competitive match, and honestly, it's business as usual for Wilder. Once again, he's facing someone who's going to make him look good, just like he's done in the past. It's a career built on fighting guys who are nowhere near his league, so it's hard to be surprised. However, this one's a bit of a joke. No offense to Harper, but let's be real. Wilder knocking him out doesn't prove a thing. It's nothing but padding the record, and it's not a good look. AJ fought Jermaine Franklin when he made his comeback. Franklin's a solid fighter. Daniel Dubois faced Big Baby Miller after his layoff, a legitimate opponent. But Wilder, he's going back to 2013, fighting opponents that don't even make sense at this stage in his career. The only person getting any credit here is Harper for stepping in the ring, but only if he manages to stay in there this time. Moving on from Wilder, let's talk about another not-so-great look, Dr. Usman. This guy has been making waves for all the wrong reasons. When Dennis McCann tested positive, we all assumed he might have taken something mild, maybe a little booster to get him firing again. But it turns out McCann had an entire medicine cabinet's worth of performance enhancers in his system. And I'm not talking about a couple of mild boosters, we're talking serious substances, straight out of Brock Lesnar's playbook. And here's the kicker. Dr. Usman has been linked to not just McCann, but also to Tyson Fury and Conor Benn, both of whom have failed drug tests. Now the Boxing Board of Control is finally investigating him. About time, right? But let's be real. The investigation probably won't get them anywhere. You know how these things go? No fighter is going to rat out their doctor, because then they'd face the same investigation. The truth is, it's nearly impossible to prove any shady dealings, but anyone with half a brain knows there's no smoke without fire. And just to make matters worse, Dr. Usman hasn't exactly helped his case by making some bizarre public statements about how athletes can avoid detection with fast-acting testosterone and growth hormones. You really have to wonder what he was thinking when he said that out loud. It's like he's trying to teach everyone how to cheat without getting caught. But in the end, he's clearly not very good at it himself, so it'll be interesting to see what comes of all this. At the very least, we can hope that the exposure of Dennis McCann's failings leads to a ban on Usman from boxing. The man's advice and expertise are dangerous, and at the very least, he needs to be kept out of the sport. As for Dennis, if all these allegations are true, he deserves a lifetime ban. If Liam Cameron got 4 years for something far less serious, this should warrant a much stronger punishment. And finally, staying on the topic of drug tests, let's talk about Ryan Garcia. He recently made a big statement at the Ring Awards, and boy, it got people talking. More on that in a moment. So, it looks like we've got another twist in the world of boxing, this time involving Ryan Garcia. Garcia's come out with some pretty bold demands for his upcoming fights. He's saying that he's going to insist on 24-hour drug testing all the way through camp. But here's the kicker. He doesn't want to use VADA. Apparently, he's got issues with VADA, and for some reason, Bill Haney keeps pushing for it. Garcia, however, is having none of it. Now, let's pause here for a second. The man who tested positive for banned substances is now saying he doesn't want the testing agency that caught him. Instead, he's going to find his own testing company. Seriously, that's like a thief getting caught and then saying, "Well, I don't want you guys arresting me. I'll find my own police force." It's absurd. He's still going on about some conspiracy at VADA, but the facts are clear. He failed 2 tests, one the day before his fight and one the day of. He then requested the B sample, which came back positive as well. The New York State Athletic Commission did their own investigation and confirmed his wrongdoing, which resulted in a 1-year ban. That's about as lenient as it gets, yet he still refuses to take responsibility. If Garcia insists on avoiding VADA, he can kiss any big fights goodbye. Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, the major Saudi events, they all rely on VADA. If you're not playing by those rules, then you're not going to be involved in those big cards, period. Not to mention, major promoters like Top Rank and Golden Boy are also heavily involved with VADA testing. So, if Garcia sticks to his guns here, he's shooting himself in the foot. Now, let's turn back to Tyson Fury. His retirement has caused a huge mess, especially since it was just around the time the AJ fight seemed like it was finally on the horizon. As for the whole robbery talk Fury's been spouting, who knows what's going through his head? He keeps alluding to some kind of injustice, but let's set the record straight. Most of the boxing world agrees that Fury lost both his bouts with Usyk. The judges agreed, and even an AI judge said the same thing. So, no robbery there. And as for the Inannu fight, Fury was lucky to get the win. It could have gone either way, but again, no robbery. On top of that, Fury's made hundreds of millions from his Saudi deals over the last year and a half, so no one's robbing him there either. As for the AJ fight, it's guaranteed that he'll make at least $50 million from it. That's more than fair for both fighters, so the robbery claim just doesn't hold up. While it's clear that Fury's retirement is a joke, AJ's situation is a bit different. If he's looking to fight this year, it seems like he'll have to look elsewhere, perhaps even fighting in Africa. There's also the possibility of him facing the winner of Zhilei Zhang versus Joe Joyce to stay in the hunt for the titles. I know some people have lost interest in the AJ Fury fight, but for fans like me who were genuinely excited about it, it's disappointing to see it fall apart again. Fury's antics have once again derailed what could have been a massive showdown. It's just one of those things in boxing. Expect the unexpected. So, there you have it. It's a mess, but it's boxing for you. What are your thoughts on all this? Let me know in the comments. Until next time.